Yeah, this is like Barbara Peterson will also be virtual.
And we are recording.
Yes, it's recording in progress. Oh, it's on here. They're on you. It's gonna be on here. Yeah. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It is 5 o'clock on Friday, October 13th. So we'll officially call this special board meeting to order. So we'll do a quick roll call to give a sense of who all is here today. We start with this in the table. Sure. And Wojak, District 2. There's Williams, Hoover, District 1, and the Moss District 4. And then joining us online, are they both here?
Dave Larson, District 5.
Barbara Peterson, Puget Sound ESD.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry, I was having a tech issue. Is your mic on? That's probably why it's doing that. Hold on. A second. Okay, great. Wonderful. So we are here today. Oh, I need a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we are here today. I'm very excited to welcome Charlie Simpson, who is interviewing today for the appointment for Director District 3. So we've got, I put the questions there for you as well. Quite a few questions. We got like 19 in here. So some of them will be a little quicker to answer, but anyway, we'll move through them. I imagine it'll take about an hour, maybe a little bit less, depending. And then after that, we'll go into executive session. So we'll just kind of rotate. I know we didn't touch base about this before, the board members, but we'll kind of rotate around who asks and include everyone that's present, including Barbara and of course Dave online. So I'll kick us off. Please tell us something about yourself and your involvement with the Tukwila School District and the school district community.
Sure. Well, I basically went through Tukwila Elementary, Philip Middle School, Foster. We also had all of our kids go through the same set. We've been involved with scores back when it was big down in elementary. As far as the school district and the community, just as our kids were here, then we were involved pretty much with whatever they were in the cultural center or the Pacific Islander programs that were going on during that time during the school when they were here. And since they have been out of school at this time, then we have had our kids have had grandkids, and they're about to enter into the Tukwila School District, and therefore I thought it might be a good idea to get involved this way. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Just wanted to check in. Can y'all hear Charlie okay? Online. Barbara and Dave, just want to do a quick check-in. Can y'all hear, could y'all hear Charlie?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, wonderful. All right.
At the end, at the beginning, it was hard to hear, but at the end, it's good.
I turned the computer around. I learned a little bit. Okay, cool. Let me know. Don't hesitate, I guess, to interrupt any one of us if for some reason you can't. Okay, so we'll go this way and then around and then catch the folks online.
So in your application, you've shared why you wanted to be a director. Will you please share with us what strengths do you see yourself bringing to the board of directors?
Sure. So being involved in Tukwila, being here living in Tukwila, I think the strength is I know the community pretty well. We're involved here. We have also a business here. And so the strengths that I'd like to see is just kind of bringing the business side of it over into it, and also into kind of whatever the decisions are being made for all here at the district. And then also because we live here and it's our community, I want to make sure that if I can help, kind of guide that situation, I would like to do that while making it the best that it can be for, the kids that are here, and also for the kids that, I have my own grandkids I want to make sure that's well for, so we get it.
Please share with us your perception of what the role of the school board director is.
So my perception is it sounds like the director is a board of individuals who live within the community, and then they help with the superintendent guiding and helping make decisions, and the superintendent then passes those down into the teachers and other admin through the district, basically. And so it kind of starts here is that it's community driven, I would assume. And then that helps to shape the decisions, of course, seeing teacher unions and personal stuff and different things. I'm sure that we're going to have to wade through all of that that's there. But as far as, I guess, is the community voice within the district. That's my perception. I don't know how close, but somewhat.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep. School board directors make many decisions. What should the prime considerations be for a director when making a decision?
Considerations, Dean? Boy, that's a loaded question. Hopefully we get enough of the facts that are here to make the best decision with the facts that are presented, because unless we're directly involved with something, it's kind of hard to wade through it. So we'd have to get all the information we probably can from the individuals that are there, the facts, and then we have to wade through and make the best decision with the information that's presented to us, and then also taking into account of probably personal experiences that are here that the board is going to have that will probably also help, I'm assuming, in making those type of decisions.
Okay, so Edna asked that last question, and then Director Larson, if you could ask the next, and then we'll go to Director Peterson, and then back to me.
Do you want me to do the next one?
Yes, please.
Okay. Please share your thoughts about the involvement of the school directors in the day-to-day operational decisions of the Tukwila School District.
That's a good question, because I kind of pondered about, okay, so as far as a school board, what I guess as a school board are we asked to do from the day-to-day, or what can we do? Are we able to go into a classroom and see what's happening? Are we able to go to the different meetings or different teachers or whoever that before decisions made, are we able to go out and kind of fact find and speak to people and do stuff? I wasn't sure what that would be. I would hope that would be the way that it would be, that it's not just some governing board that's disconnected. So my hope would be that the day-to-day is that as something comes up or we're able to get a little problem or pre-processing and then be able to go forward and then meet with the right individuals or go see for ourselves or myself to see what actually is happening or what's going on at that point in time. So that would be my thoughts to involvement, but I'm not clear about what is supposed to be there. What are the rules of such?
I feel like I want to say.
No,
that makes total sense. Great, thanks. Director Peterson.
Okay. Hello, I'm out here in the virtual world. What do you believe are the key elements of a cohesive and effective board of directors? I'm glad you have something to read along with you. That's great.
Yeah, it is. It's good. So then I can refer back to the question. So the key elements of a cohesive and effective board is just like anything else. I think we all have to listen, A, and then we have to compromise, B. I think everybody's going to come from different areas, different thoughts, different backgrounds, expectations, and then from there make a decision that's best for the district.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tukwila School District is committed to advancing racial and educational equity, and this continues to be a place of growth for us. What experience do you have working to advance racial equity for yourself and within an organization or education setting?
Social justice and racial equality.
Did I skip one?
You did, but
Oh, I did skip one. I'm sorry. Dang it.
They kind of lead, if that's the second one, it kind of leads in.
Sorry.
So 7 and 8 are kind of look like
Yeah.
pretty close together. So social justice and racial equality. Very good questions. As far as committed to advancing, so it's easy for me because my kids are half Samoan, so it's pretty simple. We've just grown up that way, you know, for the kids and teaching them and doing different stuff. So, as far as advancing racial and educational equality, I think, you know, I've always leaned more into the Polynesian part of it, just because my kids were Polynesian. So then we were just able to have them go to different, they had Pacific Islander stuff back in high school. I don't know if it's still here. They had the culture boy that was back there. I don't know if it's still here. And then it went on to UW, which our kid, one of our oldest son went to UW. So it was kind of a cross between us. So we had UW people come back and do things. So I'm hoping that that's still there. As far as advancing it as a whole group, I think that's what we need. I think we need something for that. Personally, though, sometimes if we get so individualized, if it's just Polynesian or if it's just Asian, or it's just et cetera, it's kind of, it polarizes again. So we have to kind of think of something more, a little bit more macro. I don't know what that is. I don't know what you guys have here. It would be interesting to find out for that. But as far as, I guess that would be my experience, I guess, for that, and just trying to get the kids involved in different things. Like, for example, back in high school, I taught, we did lacrosse. And so then we got all the kids that were from Tukwila football players, and we all took them to Highline to do lacrosse because we didn't have lacrosse here. And so we bus all the kids over there and do things for lacrosse. And so it was a bunch of, obviously all our kids' friends were all Samoan and Tongan kids or whatever. So we just did that all the time. So just trying to get them to try something that they wouldn't have normally done. That wouldn't have been a sport that would have been normally played or anything. So yeah, that's my answer.
You should skip that little question since you can go by them, or what are we? You feel like you answered both in that one?
It's up to you guys. We can reiterate.
I'd like to ask the question. Tukwila School District is committed to advancing racial and educational equity. That was the
Yeah.
That is on here. That is 8 is on that. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just answered 8. I'm sorry.
Kind of did a joint 7-8, but whatever works is going to be fine.
Tukwila School District is committed to advancing racial and educational equity, and this continues to be a place for growth for us. What experience do you have working to advance racial equity for yourself and within an organization or educational setting?
Racial. It's interesting because my experience is going to be first for educational wise. So I worked for the Puget Sound ESD for 10 years. We put together a program called the Relive program, which I don't know if it's still there. I'm sure. If not, that it is. So we did I was on the board back in high school and then ended up working there for about 10 years. And then I know it opened up in the Puyallup district. So that's my experience educational wise within the educational field. As far as kind of what I told you, it's just individually just going out and doing different things. It's just kind of a way of life.
What was the name of the program?
Relive.
Relive.
RELIF. Yep.
What do you see as the board's role in leading for racial equity?
Great question. So the board's role in racial equity, right, is education straight across for everybody. It shouldn't matter, right? And I know that our population of students now is a lot of immigrant students. I know that we've been in Time Magazine for the most diverse and, et cetera. We're a pretty small district that's on there. I'm hoping, just from my own background, is that it's not always college forward, that there's a lot of other skill sets out there that the young people can get into, that they can make a living, that it doesn't have to be in college and go to school. You know, there used to be other resources. We used to have Mac Shop and different things that were in there that I think a lot of kids could gravitate to and make a really good living. And also, not everybody's built to sit for 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day. They're just not, you know, and there's a lot of good that we can bring. So I hope, as far as the board, I'd like to help further that if that's a possibility here, or if that's, you know, what options are out there, hoping that we can. I mean, it seems pondering when you have someone come from a different country and they come here in middle school or high school, late in high school, and then how do you best serve the young people and the student to go forward? I think there's just other options that the school could access and help with on that.
I can't keep track here. Please share your thoughts about the relationship between the superintendent and the school board.
Superintendent, school board, my understanding is that the superintendent, the school board hires a superintendent, I believe so. And so they're going to do the interviewing process. And then I would hope there would be a close relationship, because they should be kind of the drum that beats back to what's going on and what's needed, and the funding and et cetera for it. So I'm hoping there's a good relationship between the two, because otherwise it seems kind of foolish.
And that brings it to you, Director Larson.
Okay, what do you consider to be the priority areas of accountability for the superintendent?
So the priority areas, accountability of the superintendent. Well, hey, showing up for work every day is always thing. I think that would be one. And then it's pretty, for me, it's pretty clear cut. I have a job description that's laid out and it's clear for everybody, then it's pretty clear what the accountability part needs to be. So if there's a job description saying that you are required to do A, B, and C, then let's hold them to the job description that's in front. And then if we excel, you know, on those, and to see what needs to be added, you know, onto that. But I think that's where I would start. See what the job description is, and then hold them to doing the basics. And then once we're good at the basics, then we can go and move forward there.
Okay, Charlie, I think it's mine next.
Okay.
It's important for a director to know what the parents and other community members are thinking about the schools. What ideas do you have on how to improve outreach to all parents and increase community involvement in our schools?
Good question. So my first thought would be, I'm sure we have school board meetings that are open to the public. I wonder how many really attend. So that being said, we'd have to figure out if it's a low attendance, how do we get more people involved? I'm sure you guys have already ran through all of the, you know, parent board kind of, you know, I'm not sure what we've gone through, but I'm sure we've kind of done the blanket ideas of trying to get more people involved in different communities. I don't know if there's a way to get somebody within the communities, different ones, that's able to communicate the needs of them. Like, you know, you think of, you know, Somalia or the Ukraine, or somebody that there's those leaders within the community that can access to kind of help bridge some of that, and getting those individuals into, you know, at different times. You know, food always helps. I know if you have food, that always helps to get people coming too. So those would be a couple ideas.
Thank you.
Okay, I have two questions here. I'm just going to go and ask them both at the same time. Have you had an opportunity to review the district's budget? Which, a side note, is one of kind of the biggest kind of oversight that the board has. One of them. If so, what is your opinion of how our funds are currently being spent?
Good question. So I've only done a small review of what's going on. And this is kind of a big stickler for me also because I'd love to see it in front of me. I'd love to see how it's broken down into the costs and where the funding is going, because that would help. Because if we don't have a balanced budget, then we have a big problem. Right. And I know that at least I'm gonna defer back to when I was involved, is that money follows kids, right? So depending on how many students you have, there's an allotted amount of money that comes from the state, et cetera, and from the government, and then it funnels down through your regular students, your ones that are on IEPs, all that good stuff. And so we just have to see how that's broken down and how that's used to the best, I guess, of the budget. Air to say that I'd like to see, I'm pretty much a nickels and dimes kind of person. So I'd like to see how it's all broken down. And I would definitely be happy to go through that once and spend the time to do that if this goes forward for sure.
Yeah, just to not get too much into it, but just to kind of name, like, we are actually in a place where we're really experiencing some significant losses in our budget. It's definitely not balanced. And so we're actually about to engage in a really, really intentional process for really looking at our budget and doing kind of what you just named. So knowing that, like, what you'd potentially be walking into is hopefully going to look a lot different in the next few months and into next year. But we're at an interesting place with our budget for sure.
If you have the ability to introduce one practice, and features, or process into the Tacoma School District at this time, what would that be?
I think I would go back to just not always college driven. I think that would be one thing that would be trade driven also, and getting the trades to come out and show. I mean, for example, I talked to the people at Pepsi. All these guys are going to retire at Pepsi, and that doesn't sound like a great job. They make like $80K a year delivering Pepsi and doing stuff. There's a bunch of people they want people to come there and train them so they can replace all these people that are going to retire because there's nobody going to be there. I mean, that's $80K. I mean, that's not, nothing to shake, a head at. That's good money for people that, are able to go out and do it. So there's a lot, there's community access and people willing to train young people to do these positions. So that's my thought.
School or community event and a parent makes statements critical of a teacher, how would you respond?
Criticals of a teacher, how would I respond? I would say thank you for letting me know that. I'd love to hear your concern more. This isn't the spot where we talk about it. If we'd like to, you can come to, I'm sure there's got to be some place that we can meet or a time that's there. Please come and voice it at that set in time. Here's my email. Go ahead and formulate all your concerns in an email to me, and then we'll promise to take a look at it, and I'll get back to you. And I would always, if I say I'm going to get back to you, I always do. So I make sure that we reach back into it. So I'm sure that's probably.
Got it this time. Being a director is a large commitment of time. How much time each week are you willing to spend and that you would expect to spend on school board activities?
That's a good question, because when I was approached by this, I was curious about what it takes, because I'm a business owner myself and I employ 7 people right now, and then just trying to run the day-to-day and do different things. And so it sounds like we have a budget issue that we're going to have to deal with, which is okay. I mean, I'm willing. I don't have kids anymore. I have grandkids I love to spend with, and I won't give up that time. So there's a few days that I can't give up or go over to. But as far as the time commitment, I'm assuming it's going to be several hours every week at least in order to do stuff, and then looking at budgets and emails and going back and forth. I'm sure the meetings are for just getting the information and doing the formalities, but all the real work's already been done before this happens. So as far as time-wise, I mean, I'm open to seeing what it's going to commit to, because once you get something up and running and it's running well, it seems to take less of your time. Right? And all you have to do is just manage that it's being done correctly and well to the expectations. So.
Yes, I'm next. So, how should elected officials such as school board directors ensure that their entire constituency has a voice and not just those who are vocal and claim to speak for the majority?
And so are we talking about directors on the board? Is that what you're asking, or the community?
Yeah, we're talking about board directors. Yeah.
Okay, so if we're here and someone has like a kind of a dominating personality and someone doesn't, is that what we're asking, if I'm clear?
Yeah, kind of. Just, I mean, typically you'll get, you know, somebody who's very vocal for some particular cause or something, and then
Sure.
but there's, you know, there's quiet people who may not, you know, be willing to do that. So it's like, how do you balance, you know, the two? How do you go about thinking about that?
That's a good question. So I think everybody has passion about what they're passionate about, right? So whenever they come to the table, what brought them here is, so I'm gonna frame it more as people are more passionate about it. As far as a dominating personality that's there, I mean, for me personally, that's commonplace, right? There's always going to be somebody who's a little bit louder than everybody else. As far as dealing with it, I think that we just make sure that everybody gets a chance to talk. Everybody has, you know, something to say or has something to say, even if you have to go as far as, so what do you think about that, Edna? And going and asking, you know, so what do you think about that, Jan? What do you think about that? You know, and as far as asking and making sure that that's the voice, everybody has an opportunity to speak. I think it's also, though, our responsibility to speak up. If we're going to be in a leadership role and a director, you know, that also comes with, if we feel a way about something, we also have a responsibility to say it. That's what we're being asked to do, I think. So.
Okay, 18, if a situation, discussion, or agenda item were to come to the board that could potentially be a conflict of interest, how would you handle it?
No, it's easy. Just, you can recuse yourself. You can just say, I can't, you know, it's a conflict of interest. I need to take my vote out or something and explain why, and then I'll let the other directors decide if that is a conflict. And if they see it as also, then you just step out of that position. And then if they agree that it's not, then you stay and hold your vote.
Thank you.
All right, and lastly, our last formal question here, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about you as a school director candidate that we may have failed or not inquired about?
You've been pretty good. Your questions are pretty good through everything as far as getting a director. It also makes me think a little bit more seriously about what's going on in the different, what you guys are asking, you know, for this position. So I think it's good. I think it's good. And as far as failed, I don't think so, unless you want to know something else, you know, that I can offer. But
Some additional question. You said you run a business. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that is?
Yeah, so we're automotive locksmith. So we just drive around and make keys for cars all day. And so then we have so we have guys that work under me, and they go out and office staff, and we go out and do technical work. So if you ever lose your car,
And he's good.
yeah.
Experience with that.
And Carly, can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
Charlie, can you tell us what you did at ReLife? It is one of our strongest programs and very heartfelt for Puget Sound ESD. What was your connection with ReLife?
Sure. So at ReLife, I ended up being the operations manager at the very end. I was down here at the Tukwila. I started as a para-ed and then worked on one-on-one, and then had to teach for 2 years because we couldn't find a teacher in there. Even though I'm not a certified teacher, I was overlooked by our Nancy Henderson, who was our principal at that time. So then she was in there and had to oversee. So I had to go through IEPs and I had to draw up documents and then work with the other teacher on that. So, and then at the beginning, I was like this young person here was on a board at that time, and then they had brought us in to talk about different stuff and how to make the program, etc. And so that's why I started in the program.
Thanks so much.
Additional questions that folks?
Do you have any, I guess, like experience in doing student voices or some things you'd like to do or like see the board, bring to the board to make sure that student voices are being centered?
Very good question. So as far as students, are we talking at what age group are you thinking? Or are you thinking majority of all? Just kind of the whole thing. Do we have a student board that comes up here and talks to the other than yourself?
We're trying to make that happen. So, yeah.
Because, and it's not happening because the students aren't wanting to get involved, or it hasn't been created yet?
It hasn't been created yet.
Okay, so we're getting involved in. I think that's probably the best, because the people I find that want to be on those boards usually want to be there, and are not trying to skip out of class or do something, because obviously it's after school like you're doing now. It's taking your time, right? And so if it's taking your time, then it's valuable. And so hopefully the people that are going to go to the board, that they would think it's also valuable to be here and do it. So that would be good. I think that's where I would start. Yeah, for sure.
I guess I do have one more question kind of related to racial equity, if that's okay. So, again, we're really committed in the district. I think particularly as a board who right now is all white, with the exception of our 2 student representatives. And so, that's required a lot of work, a lot of growth as individuals. And then one of our, I think, goals and challenges is how we are decentering whiteness as a board in our decision making. And so I'm just curious to hear a little bit about maybe what that means to you to decenter whiteness, and if you have any experience or thoughts about how that might show up for you if you were to join the board.
Decentering whiteness. Yeah, that was my question, is definitely if racially and ethically we're not a diverse board at all. Yeah. And especially bringing me on is not going to help your situation in any which way or another. It's not going to change. So as far as I haven't thought a lot about it. I'm going to be quite honest with you as far as that. What I think what I can bring that's going to help it is the fact that the kids that we're trying to help, I think there is some value definitely in racial justice and stuff, but I think there's a lot of value in making sure that we get to class, we get the education that we need, that we're promised, no matter who we are, and then also getting the skill sets to move forward after school and getting out of school. So I'd have to actually think about that a little bit more, to be quite honest with you, about the decisions, because I'm thinking the decisions in here, we're going to be a lot of budget, we're going to be a lot of different programs that are going to be, involved out there and stuff like that. And I think that what makes sense for the community makes sense. As far as that's my thought, I guess, as far as what it's there. So I don't know. I'd have to take that in a little bit more and come back with that. It's going to be hard to de-white something when the whole board pretty much is white. So I think that that's something that if the board's going to go forward after this budget thing, let's get through the budget thing, then maybe we need to spend some time trying to go out and getting more people of ethnicity on the board.
Cool enough. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any kind of questions you have for us?
No, I think that's, as far as it sounds like some of the questions that I answered, some things were probably already taking place, that we were answering and trying to get done. As far as the budget situation, I'm curious, eventually, depending on how this goes forward, what that's going to look like, and how that's going to go through and who's going to assist with that, because I'm sure that's going to take a little bit of digging and time and figuring out, and probably some hurt feelings along the way. So So that should be interesting.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate your
Thank
time
Yes,
to
no
be
problem.
here and, yeah, we will be in touch very soon.
Very good. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good night. You get to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye,
Thank you so
Joe.
much. Okay, all right, so we are now gonna move into executive session. It's 5:36. I think it's reasonable to say we'll go till 6 o'clock. That's 26 minutes. If we need to come out early, we can do that. But so we are gonna go into executive session to evaluate the qualifications of a candidate for appointment to the elective office per RCW 42.30.1110H. So let me stop the recording. All right, it is 6 o'clock. That is the best we've ever done on executive session ending timing. Just saying, we didn't even have to like come back and do it again. At 6 o'clock, we are coming out of executive session, and so now we'll move to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, folks, thank you all so much. Have a good rest of your night.